Scrappy Peeps, Susanna here today for Bella Boulevard to share with you this layout that I have essentially scrap lifted from Erica from the blog. So the challenge this month is to go to the blog and find inspiration there and then basically scrap lift it. So Erica has 2 square photos as well as a cutouts file that she has created using the January part of the collection from My Life 365. This week we are using One Love Song, I believe it's called, from Bella Blvd. And, Our Love Song from Bella Blvd. And so I am using Our Love Song and Erica's layout as my inspiration for these 2 photos of my husband and I on date night. So she has framed her layout with a white background. So I have chosen the multicolor flowers, and then that sort of will go with mint color there to just frame that and pop the color a little bit, give it more of a grounding. And then so I've done exactly as she did. Erica has color photos. I went black and white because the photos are dark, and B, there's a lot of color in them, and they don't really work with the color palette of this collection. So I am deciding here what I want to back these files with, or cutouts with. There is a process that you can go through to make it easier for you. However, I have been backing files the way that I am about to do it forever. And so to me, it is much easier. It cuts out a process in that I am not tracing with well, first of all, I'm not having to cut out the backing template. I am literally just using liquid adhesive, and I am angling my scissors, keeping the cut file, I'm going to call it a cut file, cut out to the left of my scissors because I'm right-handed, and that way I'm able to just cut along the inner edge of the pattern paper. And it's much more efficient for me. However, you have to remember that I have been scrapbooking for over 20 years. And so, well, I have not always had digital cut files. However, I have fussy cut for a long time, and many pieces of pattern paper. So this is just what I find easiest. I am going to use a mix of the mint green, the pinks, as well as that acetate that you can see there that comes with the collection. I will fast forward through some of this because this is awfully repetitive, but I will show you the E at the end because it does have a separate piece. You can see in the whole piece that I'm cutting with there is no inside of the E. And so that is a separate piece along with, so the O is not, but there's multiple files. And so, something else has something loose. So be sure when you open your cutouts that you check for that little envelope of loose, or it's clear packaging of an extra letter there. So I am going to use the acetate for the O. My original plan had been to make a shaker out of it, but in order to do that, you need to raise the surface of the outside of the O, and I didn't really feel like raising the entire template. I could have, but there's a lot on the page already. There's a lot of color, and I do use chipboard, and I am going to pop some things up on dimensional foam. So there's really no need for that. It would have been, if you wanted to take things a step further, that is one way that you could do it. Something that I want to caution you about that I experienced here is when you use liquid adhesive on acetate, it does slide. So my horizontal, as you can see there, is not quite horizontal, but I am not going to worry about it because there's just so much going on the page that it's really not all that eye-catching, and it didn't slip too much. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much skip all of that and just jump to the E. So there's that little loose piece that's not attached to the remainder of the file. I am going to bring out my pencil for this because it is a smaller piece. Cut that into the piece that I am then going to fussy cut around. And again, that is just my quick way of doing it. There are other those are not the instructions. I am quote unquote breaking the rules, bending the rules, bending the paper in order to just make it more efficient for me. Again, I have had lots of practice doing this. So if you are not comfortable doing it, definitely follow the instructions that come with the cutouts. So each of those different letters has a different color. You can see that there is lots of color in the collection. There is some red. I have not put red because I wanted to save that red for backing the photos there. I don't often mat my photos, but I wanted to here. I dropped my trimmer earlier and the cutting blade fell out, so I had to go in search of the cutting blade. I am matting my photos here. Sorry, I cut myself off. I am matting my photos here because I do want that pop of color around the black and white photos to just pull the photos into the remainder of the layout. So I have pretty closely replicated what Erica has done with her collection and her photos, just interpreting it with a different collection and different photos, obviously. Erica used the penguins and snowflakes as her principal elements around her page. I'm going to go with flowers and hearts. The hearts are a little bit more subtle. There is no yellow in the palette that I'm using. However, I am going to pull the yellow just for that little pop of color to give your eye a little bit of variety because there is the yellow in the background there. So I wanted to not make that unique to itself in the background, but pull that in a little bit. And because I want to pull that in some, I am also going to use yellow baker's twine to thread through the tags here. I am going to create my own little hole reinforcer there with one of the flowers. And so originally here I have tied a knot at the end of the baker's twine, and then on that second tag I tie a bow, and I don't like the look of the two different toppers to the tag, so I will off camera when I notice that I don't like it tie a bow into that one there that I just have the loose twine, baker's twine in. I do recommend that when you tie the bows with baker's twine, it depends on the twine that you're using, but this is not very tightly wound per se, and so don't tighten the bow until you have the bows, the bunny ears, the lengths that you want. Otherwise, it does warp the tension in the strands of the baker's twine there. So you can see I've pulled the size that I want, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim it. I also tie mine generally upside down in order to get the strings that are hanging to hang in the right place, to hang downwards instead of upwards, which is what tends to happen if you tie it right side up. So I'm using some liquid adhesive to adhere the cutout to the page. And now I have a canvas on which to add more layers. I've pulled the date night sticker. It's not a sticker, it's an ephemera icon because we were on a date. And then I'm going to use a little bit more of the black in these florals in order to pull a little bit more black into the remainder of the layout. In order to get contrast between darks and lights, I needed that black, especially down at the bottom of the page there. So Erica has 3 clusters with 3 penguins. I'm going to create 3 clusters of florals. And then where she's got the snowflakes, I'm just going to use the little hearts. And I'm not sure that I do that. In fact, I do a few of them on camera. But I will pull a few more in off camera. They're small little details. So I'm going to layer up these flowers here just for a little bit of texture. It's another way of pulling just a little bit more black into it. And then because I popped that second flower up on foam, you can see the color underneath. And so when you're looking at it from the side, it's not just white. It creates a little bit more color depth to the layout there. So just these are sort of the fine finishing touches, a mix of chipboard and the ephemera icons, and then just to pull a heart down into the bottom here. Again, it's not necessary, but it just adds a little bit more decor, a little bit more eye candy per se. I like the way that this pulls a little bit of that brighter teal color down into the bottom of the layout, and then the chipboard is adding some dimension as well. I will off camera journal at the bottom of the page with my own handwriting. I am not, I generally don't type my journaling. I like my own handwriting and it's legible. And I think that is an absolute bonus. So be sure to check out this week's other inspiration on social media on other layouts that the gals have lifted as projects. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.